Hi, my name is Micah, and this is Eduardo. Mr. R wanted us to learn stuff. I've learned from a B level. I'm from his fourth period chemistry class. We're in it, whatever.
I agree.
This isn't an exclusive list, or inclusive list. It's just my selection of what I want to talk about. In the first chapter, I learned about matter, which is anything that occupies space. So everything is matter here. Whatever.
I agree.
Yeah. Chemistry is the study of the composition of matter. The 5 areas of chemistry are organic, inorganic, biochemistry, analytical, and physical chemistry. In chapter 2, I learned about extensive and intensive properties, and in chapter 3, I learned the difference between accuracy and precision. For sure, man. In chapter 4, I learned how to... in chapter 4, defining the atom, that's the name of it. I learned about atoms. A Greek philosopher named Democritus believed that atoms were indivisible and indestructible. I also learned how to distinguish atoms, tell how they're different. In chapter 5, different models were introduced to me, which made atoms more comprehensible as just me as a whole. In chapter 6, the class got into organizing elements, so I could figure out where they go.
Same.
Periodic table, stuff like that. Calcium. Chapter 7 explained ions and valence electrons. I also learned about anions and cations, anions being negative, cations being positive. In chapter 8, we talked about molecular compounds and covalent bonding, as well as bonding theories. Polar bonds were introduced in the 4th section of chapter 8, which is a covalent bond between atoms in which electrons are shared unequally. In chapter 9, I learned about naming a bunch of things, like naming ions and ionic compounds, as well as for acids and bases. Chapter 10, Chemical Quantities, tells me about the mole and how important it is and how it represents 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, whatever. I learned about the mass of a mole of an element and in compounds, as well as how to convert moles to volume, liters, etc. Chapter 11 consisted of describing chemical reactions and the types. This was my favorite chapter because I find chemical reactions interesting due to the fact that it completely changed an object's appearance.
And that was my favorite chapter also.
Yeah. Chapter 12, stoichiometry, my least favorite due to the amount of formulas that I had to know and memorize for quizzes and tests, whatever, to solve problems. I also learned how to write and use mole ratios, and that concludes the end of our presentation. Woohoo!